There we
Boom,
go.
man, we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Another Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat, Mr. Creole Catfishing. And tonight we're joined by Mr. Spencer Bauer, River Certified. What's up, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Oh, just was rigging up some tackle, and I apologize. I got Eastern. I was thinking I was going to be on it in an hour. Instead, I was on an hour before 8, not an hour after 8. Math's tough.
Yeah, math. Yeah. That happens a lot. We get guests from all over, so it's no biggie. You still made it on time, even though even with the sudden surprise.
I was sprinting out of my garage.
I was trying to remember back when the last time you did one of these live streams.
Oh, I don't. I've done a few little ones recently. Not any with anybody who's like big into the online catfishing community like you guys are.
Gotcha.
I don't know if we're considered big, but we.
I mean, you guys are into it. You know, like you guys are dedicated. You work hard. You're consistent, and you're all about catfish. So to me, that means you're big time, like into it.
There you go.
I'd say anyway.
I appreciate that.
We are big time into it. I'll agree with that.
Well,
before we get started, we'll try to say hello to some folks that take the time out to tune in with us each week. I know that Benoit Fishing has been extremely excited for tonight's show. They were sharing you out on Facebook, and they were here at 6 o'clock. They had their seat, their popcorn popped, and everything. I was like, man, you guys are really early.
They beat me.
They beat you.
A lot of people probably did.
But welcome, Benoit Fishing. Thanks, ladies, for stopping in. Jack Carr is in here. That's Jackie's dad. Joining us tonight already. 922 Crappie Barbecue, Jason Lamb. Jeremy, I'm going to let you go through some of these.
I think my voice is a little better tonight. I think. Let's see, we got Jason Lamb in the house. Sampy's in the house. My buddy Brian, Big Range Catfishing. What's going on, brother? This Uptown Chrissy Brown is with us. Let's see, QC Brian. It's been a while, brother. What's going on? Good to have you in the house. Got Mama J. Your boss is in the house, Roger. You better behave yourself.
She's in the other room. She can reach me if she tried hard enough.
Yeah, one of my RCT brothers, Lance Baku guy. What's going on, man? Dave Garcher's in the house. Fishing and Freedom, another RCT brother. What's up, Richard? Let's see, Mike Greenwell, bumping Mike. What's happening, man? Good to see you.
Team member for Cat Outdoors.
Yeah. John Boy's Catfishing. What's going on? Mr. Kevin Walters, Monster Cat Catfishing. What's happening, man? Two Stans. One of my OG brothers. What's going on, Stan?
There you go.
Randy Swain's in the house. Let's see. DNA Catfishing. Good to have you in the house. Dom. What's up, Dominic? Dominic Hollis Fishing. Let's see. Wabash Nate. Mr. Paul Edmiston's in the house. Rowdy Rawls in the house. We got a big crowd already. I love Burrito Catfishing Lady. Miss Lisa, what's happening? War Pig Catfishing. Good to have you in here, man. Let's see. Bugman 22's with us. Let's see. Keep scrolling on down. Please apologize if I missed anybody. I'm going through this really fast.
I see my brothers, Zach and Skip, both in the house. So thanks, brothers, for tuning in.
Yeah, buddy. River Warriors are president.
Wait, did you say Zach and Skip?
Yeah.
My brother's name's Zach, and he's downstairs, and my dog's name's Skip. Right there.
See, they're in the house.
I
like it. Let's see. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Good to have you, man. Let's see. I don't miss anybody. El Catfish Grande. What's going on?
Spencer, that Zach is in chat. He's the one that won the Sea Arc boat.
Yes.
At the tournament down there.
Lucky son of a gun.
Like he didn't just win a Sea Arc boat. He won a pimped out sweet Sea Arc boat.
He just sent me a picture just right before the show here.
He won the boat.
He got his Tarova Quest.
Mounted
on the front of that bad boy. We're one step
closer. The power those things have is ridiculous.
Yeah, the brushless motors, man. That's the way.
Yeah, makes a big difference. So. Let's see. A few more came in the house. Got Fat Boy Eric's Adventures. Let's see. Just about to the bottom of the list. I believe everybody's saying hi to everybody. Here we go. Catch fish with us. I keep wanting to say catfishing with us. Good to have y'all in the house, Mr. Mike Irvin.
They've been on a roll here lately, especially up on Hoover, man. V putting a 62-pound flathead in the boat. She only weighs 100 pounds.
Yeah. Zach says drift mode sounds interesting. We may end up having to do a show on the new Quest. I can kind of see that one coming.
My buddy Brad got the exact same trolling motor about a month ago, and he said the drift mode is amazing. Like you turn the cruise control on it or whatever, and it'll turn you around and slow you down while still maintaining the line you're going on.
Wow.
So you can drift backwards, like suspend drift, but still stay on a line?
No, this is like dragging boards forward, but if you set it at 0.4 and it starts, the wind pushes you, it'll turn around and push you back while still staying on the contour. Like he has it set up, hooked up to his trolling motor so he can follow contours. So it'll slow him down, turn him around, and still stay on that course.
There you go. That is a problem. That is a big problem with
this is hearsay. This is hearsay. So I haven't seen it in person.
Well, that's definitely a major concern when you're dragging boards, dragging baits is the cruise control. Once the wind pushes you off and you're going faster than you've set your cruise control, the motor just shuts off. Like, okay. Yep. Where are we going? 0.6.
Yep. Got my mom in the house too. How about that? We got all the moms are in the house tonight. I love it.
Well, it is Mother's Day weekend coming up, so
it is.
Don't let that sneak up on any of you. Mother's Day this weekend, so don't forget your mamas, your baby mamas, your daddy's mamas, brothers, sisters, mama.
Josh, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Josh.
We are officially, for the time being, caught up in chat. So I'm going to put it on what I like to call my important people layout.
There you go.
There we go.
I think you had it right at first.
No, I don't think so. Hey, well, Spencer, if you don't mind, I doubt there's a single person in the catfish community that doesn't know who you are, where you're at, where you're from. If you don't mind, just kind of tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about your background, your family, just maybe something we don't know about you.
I grew up in southern Iowa, in like Podunkville, tiny town, like played 8-man football, graduated in class of 33, which actually is big now. This year's graduating class is like 18. So it's kind of sad to hear those things because it makes a guy wonder how long that school's even going to be around. I'm kind of proud that they're still hanging on. And a lot of that's just community support as much as anything. And then having some good superintendents who know their way around some numbers helps a lot too. But yeah, I grew up in southern Iowa, still pretty much live in southern Iowa. I live just south of Des Moines now. And I do spend some time much further south in the winter, but just got back to Iowa Friday. Been doing a bunch of fishing. Like I can really see my raccoon eyes.
Somebody already made a comment that if you and Jeremy had coordinated that for tonight. There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
We're just styling together.
All right.
Right. Yeah, I guess I went to college all over the place, but ended up graduating from Grandview in Des Moines and wrestled in college, graduated, became a junior high teacher and did that for, I can't remember, it was 8 or 9 years. It was a pretty good run and had a lot of fun with that. And now I'm trying to, be on the water full time. I don't get to fish full time, but I do get to fish for some of my money, which is neat. But
that is cool.
Do a lot of video editing, and then I do some charter trips too. I got my captain's license a couple years ago, so you could call me Captain Bauer. Or my buddies call me Captain other things that I probably shouldn't say on here.
Yeah, we can have it after show.
But that's the gist of it. And all my social media stuff's River certified. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Literally just did a Facebook live tip video 30 seconds before I checked my phone and saw that you said, "Hey, log on anytime." I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah, well, I usually tell people to come on like 15 minutes before the show. We do an audio check, video check, stuff, make sure everything's good to go. And I gotta be honest with you, we've been sick. I got COVID right now. I'm struggling to get through this, but so my mind's been everywhere.
You sound pretty good though, like for having gunked up
Oh, it's gunked up pretty bad.
Yeah.
But well, listen. Especially the reason I asked you on the show, there's we could do 1,000,000 episodes, I think, with you because of just all the transitions you've been through from, your beginning days of catch and cook and camping out and stuff, and transitioning from that, and then now getting into the boat scene, and now going into the tournament scene. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in between all of that happening. But the thing that I've kind of paid attention to most is a lot of what you're seeing on Live Scope, and about basically debunking some ideas or thoughts, or maybe some of the things you've found and learned that we thought we knew about fish, but you're finding out now through live imagery that we maybe were off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious what your kind of thoughts are for that, and if you had anything to add for us.
Well, I mean, the live imaging is something. It's almost scary to me. I think there'll be some things that come about that. I mean, if anybody pays attention to the bass fishing world, it's crazy. The division and the crying and arguing and whining and stuff that's going on about it, because there's a very fine, not fine line. It's like a very firm line. People either love it or they hate it.
Yeah.
I just hope that doesn't happen in catfishing. Catfishing's obviously different, because like the way a catfish feeds is quite a bit different than a bass or a crappie. And I guess it's even more exaggerated when you see it happen in real time on live imaging. But I don't know. It's interesting. For a while, I played around with it and I caught some fish using it, but I wasn't super excited about it because I feel like I would have caught those fish and then others more effectively with traditional techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But there's a few glaring exceptions, and like one of them, I mean, I made a YouTube video recently of it, so I'll talk about that one. But then I'll go back to some other things I've seen that never made it on video.
Mm-hmm.
But I made that YouTube video of Micah Burkhart, which he has a YouTube channel. Shout out to Micah. He's pretty darn awesome dude. And me and him fished a tournament, and we were trying to catch bait. And that was the number one reason I bought that thing, was to help me catch shad. And it's a wonderful tool. I mean, I used to have shoulder problems, and they're actually, my shoulder's getting better because I haven't had to throw the net nearly as much. So me, that was worth the investment right there.
Okay.
But we were looking for shad. We found a bunch of shad. I put the live imaging down and I threw the net, and I noticed these large fish swimming amongst it. Threw the net, caught a bunch of shad and a small flathead. So I'm like, I wonder if all these other fish are flatheads. And then I dropped 3 live shad on a circle hook down in front of one, and he just came up and ate it. And that day they were really, really tuned up. This was pre-fishing. I did it once, and then I think the second time I dropped down, caught like a good one, like a 25-pounder. This was in 2 flatheads within 5 minutes, which isn't something I'm used to doing. It was pretty cool. And we decided right then, like, let's leave these ones alone and see if we can replicate this in a similar location somewhere else. And then we did. And then we tried to do it again, and we did it in a 3rd place. And we're like, okay, we might be onto something. And then tournament day comes around, and if you watch that video, we had a heck of a time hooking them.
Yeah.
There's so many things that seem obvious, but pre-fishing, we had no problems. Like every fish. So, and tournament day, it's like, but it was post-front. Post-front, they're not as active as they were pre-front, which was when we were pre-fishing. But all that was cool, and all that lays the foundation for me to say these flatheads in 60-degree water were suspending under schools of shad at 10 o'clock in the morning, like suspended 15 feet off the bottom. They weren't really schooled up per se, but they'd come through in like little wolf packs, and not even wolf packs really. It'd be one here, one here, one here. Sometimes there'd be 2 close together. They didn't seem like they were traveling together as much as they were just all concentrated in a similar area along with the shad and feeding on them in the middle of the day. And if somebody would have told me those were flatheads on live imaging without me catching them, I would have said no way. And now that I'm getting used to seeing what catfish look like, okay, it makes sense. But it's just not something I ever thought flatheads did. So
Right.
that was nuts. And then the other one was on a guide trip on one of our small streams in Iowa, and there was a section of river where it's backed up by a dam, so it's always got a depth that's suitable for a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the live imaging out the back, and I said, what did I call it? In the bass, and they call it hanging a minnow. So I was calling it, let's go hang a chunk out the back, and we slipped with the current, and I just scanned back and forth looking for a fish. We saw some channels, we caught a drum, and then I saw this looked like a giant slug slithering along the bottom. I'm like, there's no way, because it's 11 o'clock in the morning, sun's out, it's July, it's 90 degrees, we're like sweating bullets. The last time you would expect a flathead to be cruising out, and he swam by my bait, didn't eat it, swam by the second guy's bait, didn't eat it, and then swam by the third guy's bait, didn't eat it, but then came right back around, slurped it up, ended up being a 40-pounder a client put in the boat. And
wow, nice.
That was the very first time where there was a fish. I mean, I say, like, somebody caught a fish on my boat that I don't think we would have caught if it wasn't for the live scope. But those have only been a couple instances. Like I said, I've caught them other times, suspend drifting and having it down looking for them, but I think I would have caught those fish anyway,
Right.
Gotcha.
But had we not been using it for those those suspended flatheads and that one on that guide trip, I mean, would have never caught those fish otherwise, probably.
So what live imaging unit are you running? Are you running the Garmin, or are you running?
I have both. I have a portable Garmin that that was the first one I had. Used that ice fishing. It's got a 9-inch screen, and I'm actually going to end up, I think I'm going to sell it, but I don't know. We'll see. I go back and forth because having that second unit has been pretty handy at times.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure it's worth the cost, but I guess it's not costing me anything because it's already paid for. But my main one is Active Target 2, and they're both good. I mean, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so I guess I'll just say, like, the Humminbird is lacking on the live imaging.
Okay.
Their side imaging is the best, but
Right.
their live imaging leaves a little bit to be desired. But the Lowrance is very comparable to the Garmin.
Okay.
The Garmin might have a little bit better target separation, but that also might have something to do with, like, the settings.
Right.
I'm not the most techie person in the world.
Gotcha.
I do okay, and I can figure things out, but just whatever I have my Garmin set on and the Lowrance set on, the Garmin target separation is a little bit better.
Gotcha.
Warpig wants to know, how deep can you scan, or is there a shallow water tool?
I'd say it's more of a deeper water tool. There's a happy medium, like that 10 to 25 foot range. You get a really good look at fish in forward. Like, there's different modes. You have down, you have forward, and then I think it's perspective on Garmin and scout on Lowrance.
Okay.
I in that 10 to 25 foot range, I really like the forward, and you can, like, I'll have mine set at 80 or 100 foot out most of the time if I'm looking for stuff. If I know I'm in the area of whatever I'm looking for, I'll shrink it down to get a little bit better image. But and then I'll use perspective in shallower water, especially for shallow water shad. That's really nice. I've been playing around with using perspective to like scan around and then cast an unweighted bait at fish.
Okay.
But I haven't been able to catch any doing that. It might be a worthwhile thing to play with, and maybe there's a skill set to being good at it that I don't have, which is a real possibility. But I think you're kind of limited by your creativity on it. There's just a lot of potential there.
Right.
But then that all goes back to the bass fishing thing. I just hope cat fishing doesn't get to that point. But if a tech, my worry is that there will be like a technique that comes out that just absolutely dominates, and it's all live scope focused.
Yeah, that you
Right.
have to have a live scope to do whatever technique that would be.
And then it dominates tournaments, and if you don't have it, you can't compete. Or even if you have it, like maybe you're so far behind the 8 ball that there's a skill set, maybe like casting that free line bait at fish in perspective mode, that if you're not as good at it as the next guy who's been practicing for 3 years before you, which you probably wouldn't be because you hadn't been practicing, then suddenly you got the people who used to do well in tournaments and don't, and they cry and whine about it. And then the new people who have been chipping away at it and they're good at it now, and they don't want to hear it. And I don't know.
Well, it's like you said just now, if you throw that thing in perspective mode, and if somebody who really wants to practice at it, you get to where you can bomb a bait within a couple of feet in the face of a catfish and physically sight fish for them, but on live scope, that could change a lot of things.
But that's kind of the thing too. Like your first thought is that you should put it right in his grill, and maybe that's not the best way to do it. And the only way you can figure that out is like 100 hours on the water, screwing it up a million times, and then maybe you realize you got to lead them. Or maybe you realize that leading them ain't good enough because they might move. So you got to throw it past them, and you got to drag it in front of them. But you can't drag it too fast, because if you drag it too fast, then you'll spook them. Like there's all these nuances to all these things that could pop up. And then you have the perfect storm where you have this 17-year-old kid who thinks live scope's the coolest damn thing in the world, and he's got a dad or an uncle or somebody with a boat who's got it. Then suddenly he gets a little bit older and gets in these catfish tournaments and just whoops everybody's tail. And then you have what's happening in the bass world right now.
Right. Yeah. These guys grew up playing video games, and they understand electronics, and how to foresee this and play that, and it ends up being a video game in a way.
Right. Or the other thing too is like crappie guys. There could be some guys in crappie fishing who are very good with live scope at this point in time. And maybe they start jumping into catfish tournaments because they have that skill set, and then they start whooping everybody's tail. Like there's so many things that could pop up from a tournament fishing perspective. Like fun fishing, who gives a crap? Which, I've enjoyed the tournament fishing thing, but I'm gonna take me a little bit of a break and just goof around a little bit more. Like I've spent the last few days just kayaking and walking creek banks and getting muddy, and that's been a nice change of pace too.
Yeah, I enjoyed the waterfall video. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that was such a cool spot too. My mother and father-in-law came down to visit, and we took them there because we'd heard about it and we wanted to see it in person. When I got there, the sign said fishing allowed with a fishing license, like fishing requirements, and all it said was fishing license. And I'm like, well, I got one of them. I'm gonna come back here and see what's living under this thing.
In my opinion, just like when side scan first came out, or when down imaging first came, every time something new comes out, and somebody gets really good at it, it's going to throw a stink. When 2D sonar first came out, it was not fair, and people were throwing a fit. And this is, in my opinion, it's just the same thing. This will end up being just another one of those things, another tool that you got. You can either get it or not get it. I mean, there's still graphs out there that don't have side scan. I don't know what they are, but
are there people complaining about live imaging and catfishing?
I'd say that there are, but I don't.
There's a few.
I was going to say I don't. I'm not into the tournament world much, so that's where you're going to see most of the arguing is when it comes to money.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So when it comes to everyone else, like most of us. Like Zach's got he's got the Humminbird Live, Mega Live, I think is what it's called. And we were playing around. We never even turned it on until we got to the Sea Arc tournament. That's a great way to learn.
Yeah,
it was just a new toy, and we couldn't leave it behind. We had to at least try it.
Sure.
But
when you see a big catfish on live imaging, it's freaky. Like last Thursday, I saw a catfish on live scope, and I ended up spooking him, which still kind of pissed off about it. But he was somewhere between 100 and 140 pounds, I bet.
Oh,
Like they do you put it out to 40 feet, and then each block is like 5 feet long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was longer than the 5-foot block.
Oh,
I mean, and granted, the shine off the fish can distort its actual size, but like having seen what flathead looks like when it fills up a 4-foot block versus 5 and so on,
wow.
I would bet a lot of money he was over 100 pounds. And I saw him when I was it's crazy how they'll hide, but you pan around and look, and once I saw him, I was sliding over the top of him, so I spun the trolling motor around to push me back, and he didn't like that sound. He just was gone.
How deep were you?
30 to 35.
Really? And you spooked him?
And still spooked?
Yep.
Huh. See that now? That's the kind of information that we find on the live imagery,
right?
That I would not have expected. I would not have expected the trolling motor to spook a fish at 30 feet deep.
So me and a buddy of mine get in a discussion about this because he'll drive over fish in 50 foot of water and be like, they don't care. I'm like, maybe not. But so my thought process on that is if somebody's 50 feet away from me, I can hear them talking. So if a boat motor goes over a fish in a medium where sound transfers better than air,
right,
like he's going to hear that motor and he's walking in the boat and everything else. So if I don't have to drive over him, I don't. And I don't care if it's 100 foot deep or 5 foot deep. Like I don't drive over them.
Yeah, that's one of the things we try, like especially when we're bumping, we'll try to like zig way out and then cut in and then drift that line back down. But I would have never thought that. I never thought 30 feet deep. But you're right. It makes complete sense. At 30 feet away, I can hear somebody talking. I mean, and we all hear what those motors sound like. Once we turn them on, and especially if you're going the opposite direction and you kick it on, trying to spin back the other way. I mean, it puts a big load on it. So,
yep.
I'm remembering back to something that because for a while Justin Johnson, kayak catfishing, he had live scope on his kayak, and an observation that he made, this might have been 2 years ago, was that he was suspending, and he had a big fish that had put his nose against his bait and just would not take it, just sitting there looking at it. And he said, well, I'm going to try something. He took that bait and he lifted it about 3-4 feet and put it right back down. And that fish gone, just immediately turned its head and left. And it was interesting him observing that. And it led to us maybe a few months after that. We were suspend fishing, not with live scope, obviously. Terrible wind, 2-foot rolls on the river. My boat's doing this the whole time. And my dad's like, hey, didn't you tell me that guy didn't like that catfish don't like when the baits move up and down? I was like, yeah, he did say that. We dropped our baits on the bottom, and 5 minutes later caught a 64-pound blue. We were marking fish on 2D, but they wouldn't bite because my boat was just doing this the whole time. So just right there, just an observation from somebody seeing something on live scope, I can say it helped me catch a fish that we probably wouldn't have caught because I wouldn't have thought that would have bothered them.
Yeah, and you'll get them I've gotten them a few times when it's been wavy, but I imagine those have to be very, very active fish.
Right.
Right.
This is one of those post-front situations. Fish weren't active. You got to put it in their face when it happens like that. And, little things like that matter when the fish aren't active.
Oh, absolutely.
Matt's wondering if you think the electronic pulses, like from your transducers, if you feel that also can play a factor. I'm going to assume in shallow water, but just thinking about how you describe sound traveling through water, and we got some guys in here that scuba dive, and talking about how easily Randy Swain here saying that scuba diving, he can hear a trolling motor 100 feet away, and that's just human ears. That's not the louder lines of the fish.
Well, I mean, this is all speculative. I would assume they can feel it, hear it,
Yeah.
all of those things. I think it just boils down to do you care or do they care? And
Right.
um, some fish that are very active probably don't, and some fish that are less active probably do. And I say active in terms of them wanting to go eat, find something to eat.
Right.
Right.
But are you going to catch more fish with it, without it? Like that's the question right now. And sure, you can use the live scope, and like I had that same day I saw that really big one. I caught one nice fish, but had probably 6 to 10. I don't remember exact, somewhere in that range of very nice fish come up and nudge the bait or get close to the bait and then just not eat it. Are they doing that because of the live imaging, or does that happen all the time and you just don't see it because you're not using live imaging? I don't know, but I've seen, for every one fish I've seen eat on live scope, I've seen 10 to 20 snub me.
And we could all have that happening every time we go fishing, but
sure we do.
like you said, we just don't know that.
You're right. I've had a few days where we've caught a bunch of fish with live imaging, or had a bunch of opportunity, like what me and Mikey did. We just couldn't hook the stupid things.
Yeah.
You would have gave $100 for a J hook.
Oh, dude, at least.
Hey, real quick, Rusty's got this in here. I'm guessing it's an inside joke. He says you're gonna.
Oh, wait, did I move that comment off of there?
No,
Something about airbags.
Yeah, you go. You find the airbags on your boat yet? You're gonna need those back before the next tournament. That's Rusty Moorfield.
Oh, dude, every tournament I've fished this winter, I feel like I'm happy I still have teeth, because from bouncing in the waves so much.
Well, they got the smooth move seats on that new boat of Zach's. I can't wait to give those.
That's why I wanted to win it. I wanted smooth moves and a nicer bimini top. During that tournament on the way out, which you'll see on the video Thursday, I kind of highlight it, but my bimini rattled to pieces, which Rusty gave me the tip to drill out the rivets and put in stainless ones, which I got the stainless ones in the bag. I just haven't put them on there yet. But yeah, two rivets busted on my bimini. It got all bent up. I had to bend it back, and then a GoPro charger bounced off and shattered on the ground or on the floor of the boat.
Our Tarova deployed itself.
What?
Yeah, the Tarova bounced up and deployed itself. Zach was super quick on the throttle. We got her shut down and got the motor down before we did any damage. But yeah, it was banging so hard that the Tarova just popped up and deployed itself. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, that was bad. And Winter Blues was really bad too.
I see. This is an interesting comment here from Richard. He's like me. He fishes the Mississippi a lot. It feels like on the Mississippi that there's so much barge traffic that maybe those fish are immune. Not say immune to the noise, but maybe it just doesn't bother them. Because I know in my stretch, I've never been in that river and there not been a barge within sight somewhere. I mean, it's a constant thing up and down. So you would think maybe that it doesn't bother them, whereas some bodies of water, there's not a lot of boat traffic. I don't know.
I would agree with that because, like, I'm thinking about fishing up at Sandusky Bay. We fish under a railroad, and there's trains constantly. I'm going to assume if any other situation, if a train went by, I would assume it would spook the fish out of there. But these fish are so used to them trains going by all the time. You catch them when they're going by. They don't stop biting.
My only thought on that is, how do we know? Like,
right.
What if it does spook about, like, the barge traffic does spook them, but there's so many damn fish down there, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Or maybe, I don't know. Like, I guess I just, with all those things, when you can't see what's going on, I'm just open to the possibility of there's lots of different possibilities, and correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. So just because it adds up logically in your mind doesn't mean that's how things actually are.
Right.
And as the live imaging thing becomes more used and widespread, I feel like we'll have a better understanding, for sure, of what's happening, because you'll actually see, like, oh, barge went by and those fish dipped out, or the barge goes by and they just sit there, or maybe the barge goes by and they suddenly start eating everything, like the barge bite thing. Who knows?
Yeah, Brad, there's got to go back. Like Spencer, let me have my theories.
Brad's the one who I was saying, talking about that new trolling motor, how it can slow you down when you're drifting.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brad, you can have your theories. I don't care.
Yeah.
We all have our own hypothesis on what's going on out there. We're waiting on somebody to connect the dots for us so we can figure it out.
I mean, I spend enough time out there. Hopefully I'll figure out something.
So what about on your catching bait? So I know that our buddy Skip was in here and he was talking about trying to sneak up on shad. He said he'd get within 10 feet of them and they's gone. They'd spook out. And so what are you finding when coming to catching bait? Because I'm kind of like you, the first thing I want when I'm thinking about getting a live scope is I want to be able to catch bait much easier and quicker and less throws, like you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that. What you'll find out is those places where you consistently one and done cast net shad, the amount of shad there is ridiculous. Like, just because you see a pot of bait, you'll be using it and you'll be like, oh, there's 500 of them over there. And you get within 10 feet and they start moving away and you throw on them anyway. And if they're more than 5 feet under the water, even I have a big mullet net I think it's 1.6 pounds per foot with 3/4 inch mesh. I mean,
that's why your shoulder hurts.
Yeah, it's hard on it. I can only throw pancake that so many times before I'm tired and it starts to get real ugly. Some days that's zero, but some, it depends on the day.
Exactly.
But it's amazing. You have this big, fast sinking heavy net, and they still, like, there's 500 of them, you catch one.
They still get out from under it. Yep.
Yep. Even if you center punch them, it's crazy. So the times where you fill a net up, they're either deep. Usually the colder it is, the easier they are to catch because they're slowed down. But it's amazing how you can throw on giant schools of shad and not catch very many because they're so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we throw a 1.4 pound 5/8 mesh. And yeah, there's been plenty of times. And like one of the things we did notice when we was throwing down in Alabama was we throw a good pancake, but it wasn't nowhere near a pancake by the time it got close to the bottom.
Yep.
No.
It was drawn up.
Yeah, as soon as they touch the water, they shrink in quite a bit. Although, have you ever thrown a tape net?
No.
I want one bad. I really want a tape net bad.
So I have a tape net, and I need to get a heavier one because it damn near floats. But to watch it fall and it stays in such a perfect flat pancake, it's just so slow that it's only effective when it's cold.
I got you.
But it's pretty impressive what they do.
Yeah, Brad says he uses tape nets.
Brad doesn't know anything about catching bait.
Oh, sure.
I think I outfished him the last time we went skipjack fishing. I didn't give him too hard of a time because I didn't have an audience, but now I have an audience, so I got to pick on him.
Yeah, sometimes skipjack will humble you.
I won't talk about the 10 trips before that, but that one trip.
There you go.
Yeah, there's that one. That's the only one anybody needs to know about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Matt says tape nets are really cool to see on live scope as they descend.
I've heard you do not want to throw one where there's current because it will immediately just fold that net to one side. I've heard that from local people.
I've never looked at that on the live imaging, so I'm not sure. I don't even know. I'm trying to think if I've ever thrown a tape net at all in current, like considerable current. I don't think I have. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I mean, even a standard net in heavy current doesn't work the best.
It will fold. I've heard that from some guys local to me that have the tape nets, and they say if there's any current, you throw it in there because of that tape. It acts in the current much more than a regular net. It'll want to just slide it sideways on you.
I could 100% see that.
Yep. The
current I would assume the same thing. Brad concurs there. The high current will wreck any net.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
it's going to be an amazing thing as more people get live scope, and especially when more curious people get live scope. Because I know me personally, if I had it, and if anybody would like to buy one for me and have it shipped to my house, I would have a lot of fun just sitting there watching the screen and just watching what these fish do and how they interact. And I could have a ball just doing that. I'll be honest.
I feel the same way. So I used to deer hunt a lot, and I would absolutely love just to sit and see how they naturally react and how they, meander and react to each other and different things. Just to learn about their behavior and what they do.
I've got some spots around here that I'd love to shine a live scope on just to see what's living down there. It would just, oh man, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, James says if he had live scope, he would be fishing less and playing with that thing more.
That's how I think would happen. Oh, look, here we go. Not quite, but close enough. Somebody wants to come fishing with me that's got one. He don't live that far from me either.
There you go.
Oh, Dusty, we might have to see about that.
Well, cool. Right now, Zach's got the Humminbird Mega Live, and Skip has the Garmin Live Scope. He actually both of them pretty much mounted theirs to where they're removable completely. So
I had to get by Skip when you said Skip.
Yeah, I said Skip, and that was that dog is savage.
He's well fed.
The bloodstained chin.
Yeah, he's just killer.
What's going on, Jody? A lot. That's what they run, James. A lot. I mean, I keep hearing $5,000. Somewhere around the $5,000 mark for full live scope setup.
It all depends on what screen you get.
Yeah,
the transducer itself, I want to say is $1,800 for the transducer in the box.
Ooh.
So, and that's whatever screen you want to put it on. Like, you can spend as much as you want on that.
Right.
You could spend $5,000. You get a 16-inch. You spend $5,000 on that 16-inch, and then you add the transducer on top of that, and you're looking at almost over $7,000 with tax for sure.
Yeah, it adds up quick. It just depends on, like you said, this really just comes down to the size of your screen. Because I think the transducer, on most of them, the transducers are right around $1,500. But what really starts adding up is all your cables, connections, your boxes, and everything else that it takes to actually connect everything. That stuff adds up. That stuff is not cheap. They are proud of their cables.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they'll nickel and dime you for everything they can.
James, that deal would have to be free at that moment. That's what that deal would have to be. I'll have to wait.
Yeah, I don't think you see me with one anytime soon either, bud.
No, I don't believe
good there. Yeah, as far as the live scope goes in the tournament world, and we actually a couple of weeks ago we had Ray Ferguson on, and he's a big believer in the live scope, and he's very proficient with his, and so I see I see a time and place coming, just like the bass and crappie world, where anglers are getting to the point where they're able to pinpoint a fish, drop bait on said fish, and they're calling fish before they ever put them in the boat.
Wow.
Mark, catfish and crappie.
That's pretty good.
Turn the volume down, Mark.
Yeah, you got to turn the volume down.
Matt's telling me to buy one for my wife for Mother's Day. Yeah, I don't think that would work. Nice plan.
Rusty's getting another 16 Pro for his boat.
Ooh, nice.
Guess my Helix 9 is going to have to do one of these days. I'll learn how to use it. Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing, James. You can buy the biggest graph they make, but if you don't know how to read it, it doesn't matter. You could have a 9-inch screen, but if you have taken the time and dug into reading that thing, you can be just as good or better than anybody out there with the big graph. You got to know what you're looking at, and time on the water, unfortunately, is usually the way you figure that all out.
The other side, the problem that I run into is trust in it.
Right.
And it's like, well, or trust in myself that I can read it. Like the last tournament I fished, we didn't do real good. And I think a lot of that is just like you'd see fish, but you wouldn't see that many fish. But then you're like, am I missing fish because I'm not good at reading it? Or should I go else? And then you fish, you're like, are those catfish? Those carp? And I've caught catfish on it. I've caught fish that I'm pretty confident were the same ones that I marked before. And I don't know, a lot of so many things in life are just confidence and belief in yourself, whatever we're talking about. Reading a fish finder happens to be one of them too.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest questions is the mark I see on my screen, is that a catfish? What is that? Like identifying species, even if something as simple as 2D, is having the confidence that the mark you're seeing is actually catfish and that you're not throwing on, something else that's not catfish, sitting there fishing for something that you don't need to be fishing for.
The only 4 I feel confident in. I'm confident that I can ID a channel cat. I'm confident that I can ID a gar, a carp, and a buffalo. Like outside of that, I'm not so confident on what I'm looking at. So if you ever book a channel cat trip, just know you're in good hands.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we've gotten decent on the river with 2D. I even learned, has it been 2 years now? I even learned how to identify bull sharks on my 2D screen versus catfish. That was interesting.
I was on the Apalachicola River 2 years ago, and I marked a fish, and I'm not positive what it was, but it was either a 150-pound blue catfish, a Gulf sturgeon, or a bull shark. I don't know which one it was, but it was gigantic.
Well, I can speak for the sharks that, and I know you run a lot of Lowrance stuff like I do. The bull sharks throw a softer signature than a blue cat does because they don't have all that skeletal structure. The signature is almost identical to a spoonbill, a paddlefish. Okay. It almost throws an identical 2D signature.
Well, I haven't looked at very many of them on lives or on any of the graphs either. So
a little softer than a big catfish.
Okay.
I seen a comment in there. You could probably identify a turtle by now too, right?
Oh yeah, I got the turtles down pat.
Hey, actually, in the CR,
I don't even have to look for them. I just put Ryan in the boat, and I know if there's anything swimming towards us, it's a turtle.
we opened up the live well at the CR tournament, and there was a big turtle dead in one of the fish spit up in there.
No kidding.
Wow. Yeah. It looked like a box turtle, but it was half decayed, so I don't know really if it was a box turtle or not. But it was a turtle, definitely.
Huh. There's a buddy of mine, Chase. He was fishing the Brazos River. I spent a couple summers living in South Texas when I was in college, and met him while I was down there. But he was fishing the Brazos, and he sent me a picture of a blue cat, about a 15 or 20 pound blue cat. And he pulled 2 turtles out of its stomach when he cleaned it.
No kidding.
I've never seen it personally.
You talk to these guys that fish these big tournaments, and I know that we don't have a lot of big tournament anglers in here most of the time. And I know Rusty, he's fished a lot of tournaments. I know you're fishing a lot of tournaments right now. But you hear about what these guys see in the live wells at these weigh-ins. It's crazy what they'll eat. I mean, they will eat anything.
Yeah, it blows my mind. What I hear, I've only had a boat with a live well for like 5 months, and this is the first boat I've ever had that's had a live well. And
Right.
I don't know. I've just seen your standard half digested fish thrown up
Right.
in there. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. We did that. Skip and I, shoot, it's been almost a month now. Time flying by, but we caught a 50-some pound flathead, had about it probably was a 5-pound sheephead or drum when he ate it. There's only about 3 pounds left of him when he got puked up. But
that's still something to see in a live well, big gob of fish that big, you know.
Oh yeah, he still had it hanging out of his mouth, and he was still eating. We caught him with it still hanging out of his mouth.
I believe that. I caught about a 3. Well, I didn't catch it. My buddy caught it. This was several years ago. It was probably a 3-pound flathead, and it ate a green sunfish. And when he pulled it in, we looked down its throat to take the hook. You look down its mouth to take the hook out and saw a tail poking out of its throat. So he grabbed the tail and pulled it out. And that 3-pound flathead turned into about a 1.5-pound flathead because the sucker that was down his throat was that big.
Wow.
Gee,
And he still ate my buddy's sunfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just it seems like when they're eating, they just eat and eat and eat. And when they're not eating, lots of times they ain't touching nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we could ever figure out what it is that causes all that, we'd be in the money.
I wouldn't share that on a podcast if I did.
No, you'd be rich.
Catfish rich.
Yeah.
Although you can make a little money on catfishing if you win all the tournaments. Just ask Donnie and Lonnie Fountaine. They probably made what like 150 grand last year with all the tournaments.
That's what the rumors are. Yeah.
Well, if you do the math, they won the 50 grand.
50 in Vicksburg. They won. I forget what the payout was in New Orleans. They won that one. They took second on Red River in Natchitoches, and I forget what other ones they won. That's just in my area what they've won. They went in tournaments all around my house, essentially. Jesus,
I've never seen that. Rusty's saying that gar is a fish that's thrown aside, but he's seen a ton of them puked up. I've never seen a gar come up.
I haven't either. I've heard rumors that people have a bowfin get thrown up out of catfish, and
I've heard that.
When I was in Florida, I caught a lot of bowfin, and I used them for bait, and I gave them a solid chance. Like I probably diced a dozen of them, and I think I caught one fish on a bowfin shot. Caught a pile of fish on shad, but only one fish on a bowfin shot.
Interesting.
Rusty says he's fishing Vicksburg this year.
Ah, boy. I hope you win it.
I'll see you there.
Yeah.
I'm fishing it too.
Yeah.
Rusty, if you win it, you got to buy me a beer.
Yeah. I know he'd be able to afford it. That's for sure.
Just one, maybe two.
Real quick before we get too far, we got a couple of things I want to get in tonight's show, and one is this here, and it is the kids tournament that's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Catfishing for Kids tournament coming up Saturday, June 8th at 9 a.m. It'll be, I believe that's 9 to 1. I think we're only doing 4 hours this year for the kids. And we've got some cool sponsors already lined up for this, trying to get as many prizes and cool things put together as we can. But right now we need more kids signed up. We need as many kids as we can get. So if this is your normal online fishing tournament setup, same as a live fishing tournament league, kids can be anywhere in the country, live fish count only, public waters. But we need some more kids signed up and make this thing a good deal. We've had major success. This is our 4th year in a row doing this. It's my favorite event to do the year. Of course, you guys know, most of you know, I do 2 of these a year, one in the summer when the kids get out of school, and then one at Halloween time because we're weird and we like Halloween. And but we need some kids signed up. So if you know somebody that has kids and wants to get out there and have some fun and play, get them signed up online, get a hold of me, however you want to do it.
Yep, I got your email going across the bottom of the screen right now, Roger, because James is asking how to enter his son in it.
There you go. You can email me there. You can message me, however you want to do it. I got a sign up list going on, and we'll get that. We'll get them all taken care of. But so we want to make sure we do our due diligence. We got about that's a month away. Yep. So I want to start getting it out there and let people know about it so that they can plan on it and make an event for themselves and some kids.
That's a good question right there. Matt wants to know, Spencer, what state have you not fished yet, but you really want to?
Oh, that's a really good question, because there's a lot of places I haven't fished, but most of them I don't really want to fish that bad. Like you get, west of the Rockies and trout country, not really, but man, I know, Virginia.
I got you, because I know you've been down my way before. It seemed like I've either heard you talk about it or a video or something. I know you've been down here.
I wish I would have knew you 2 years ago.
Nobody knew me 2 years ago.
I was down in New Orleans area. My wife had a work trip, and she said, "Do you want to tag along and check out New Orleans?" And I said, "Sure." It'd be cool to see Bourbon Street. Right. And then maybe I could find somebody to take me catfishing on the Mississippi down there. And I kid you not, I called 20 different guide services. And it got to the point where I was like begging, just give me a boat with a trolling motor, rod holders, and a fish finder. Just begging. And they said, "Nope, we won't do it. It's too dangerous. River's too dangerous." It's crazy. 20 different guide services said the river is too dangerous. And then
and don't get me wrong, there are some instances where I won't go out there either, as much as and a lot of it has to do with trash coming down the river.
Sure. The Missouri gets real bad too. Yeah. And yeah, that can be really dangerous.
Yeah.
But
if you ever find yourself down there again, I live 2 hours north of New Orleans. I live halfway between Vicksburg and New Orleans. Dude, hit me up. We will go.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh, don't chat, ask me to have a good time. I might. my wife will be back down there to visit that work site again, so we might have to figure something out.
Yeah. Perfect.
There you go. Benoit Fishing says Ohio is very close to Virginia.
It is. I don't think we're drive through it to get there.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not going to put the Ohio River up against the James River at any point in time.
I mean, the Upper Ohio, I've heard really good things for flatheads, and flatheads are kind of my favorite. So there's that, which also leads me Pennsylvania. I have never fished the Susquehanna, and I'd really, really, really like to.
We've got family up there. Actually, Jackie's got family up there that lives on the Susquehanna, and they just invited me up to go fish it.
From what I've seen, I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah, once you get up that way, you don't have very many blues left in the Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they have been reintroducing, and they've been stocking them up in that area, but I just don't know what their growth rate has been and all that. It's been a couple of years.
Flatheads are way cooler anyway.
They are. I tell myself every year I'm going to target flatheads this year. And every year I go out and do the same thing. I go start bumping and drifting and dragging. And then towards the end of the year, I'm like, man, why didn't I chase flatheads like I said I was going to? I don't know why. Because I did prefer catching them more.
I do the same. I did a little more of it last year, a little bit, but not nearly enough. And I got to get my head in that space. I got to get out of.
That's it right there. Because when you feel like you go flathead fishing and you might catch a flathead, but you go blue cat fishing and you're confident you'll catch a blue. It's easy to fall back on the blue cats.
That is it right there. That's me. I know I can go catch big blues, and it's just so hard to tear myself away into something I'm definitely not good at. At least, not
I got the time fishing. Yeah. Kevin says we need to see Spencer in the live fishing tournament league. Do you know what that is?
My buddy Mike has mentioned something along those lines before. I don't know the details and stuff of it though.
So basically it's kind of like this format here. We go fishing live and got the dogs out.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna say it on camera, but okay, you know what I mean.
You get points, and at the end of the season, there's a champion, an overall champion, and each of the tournaments, have specific types of rules. It's more fun. So, because you mentioned something about maybe stepping back from some of the big tournaments and having some more fun, might be something to look into. These tournaments are more fun than money based, but there is some monetary value at the end of the season if you end up in the points. We got one coming up this Saturday called the Whisker Derby. So, and in reference to the Kentucky Derby, and it's a numbers race. So I guess fish 1 through 10 pounds is a point, and 10 through 20 is 2 points, 20 through 30 is 3, and so on. So you can either go for big fish and rack up big points, or go for numbers of fish and just rack up as many points as you can. So, and we are fishing in it this weekend. So
cool.
And we're on the Ohio. So do you think we're going for numbers or big fish?
You asking me? Because I don't know much about the Ohio.
It's getting better. Our area actually is getting better, I believe. But our area has been commercially fished so hard for pay lakes and stuff. Our population of big trophy catfish has been hit pretty hard. So, but we have a good population of that 15 to 20 pound fish that we can catch on a consistent basis. But they're starting to get up in that 20 to 25 pound range and better. Ooh. On occasion, you'll still hear about some monster fish, but that's why you hear about 60, 70, 80, and even the 100 pound fish, because that just doesn't happen on the Ohio anymore. Right. That's why you hear about them. Whereas down where Jeremy lives, somebody catches an 80 pound fish, you're never going to hear about it. That's just that's expected. You just don't hear about it.
Yeah, it's just, but that's differences in areas. That's how it is. But what's funny is y'all have 10 times the trophy catfishermen that we do down here. That's very rare down here that somebody targets trophy catfish and releases them. People still look at me like I got a horn growing out of my head local when I tell them I do that. They don't get it. It's a culture thing, I guess.
I'm going to try to. I'm containing myself because I want to go open up big other topics, but they're going to be a long. That's a long topic. About
we'll have to have a part 2.
Yeah, we'll have to have another. We'll have to do another part 2. Just interesting your journey into going from a kayak and bank fishing to getting into a boat and traveling like you have, and the adventures and stuff and the people you've met. So we'll do another. We'll have to have you come back on the show if you're willing to do it, and we'll go into some other topics and stuff. But
I'd definitely personally, it's a little selfish of me, but I'd love to have Spencer come do a flathead clinic.
Flathead clinic? I don't care how many folks come on and talk about flatheads. We could do it every week, and I still find something and everyone's technique that I take away.
Absolutely.
The number one thing about flatheads is you'll never truly understand flatheads.
Yeah, I'm learning that already.
Yeah.
They're such a dumb fish. I love them and hate them all at the same time.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, we're going to let Spencer get on out of here. Mm-hmm. I've been hanging on the best I can, but I'm struggling. I got sweating. I got the fan on high. I'm sweating like terrible.
Well, if you want to do what we normally do, we'll close out with the spotlight of the week, correct?
Yep. And towards that, Kelly's looking for anybody that is interested in being on the weekly spotlight. Let him know. We need more of them. So we love doing these and showing off, showcasing some of the folks we got in the community. So don't be shy. Get a hold of Kelly and get some pictures over to him. Be part of one of the spotlights on the show. So Spencer, again, thank you, man, so much for taking the time to hang out with us and share your thoughts and let us pick your brain just a little bit. And we'll be sure to have you back on whenever you're ready. And we'll dig into something else.
It was fun. I appreciate the invitation, and I'm all about popping back on again. This is a good time.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, do you see which one it is?
Yep, I got it right here. I'm ready.
All right. Well, before he gets out of here, we'll see you guys next Tuesday night. Same cat time, same cat channel. Good night, everybody.
Bom peixe, everybody.